It's been reported that the pizza prep table is not working. I get here and I turn it on, and well, first of all, when I got here it was off. So I turned it on, and it seems to be working pretty well, except for the fact that I look at this clock here, and the whole time I've been here, it has not moved off of that mark right there. Now this thing should be going and keeping up with time. It should be set to the correct time, first of all, which is like 5:15 a.m. right now. But it's not. So I'm gonna let it get down to set point, and then I'm gonna move this and see if it controls just the upper section, and then keep an eye on the clock because it doesn't look like it's moving. And if it's not moving, there's a good chance that yesterday, whenever they called it in, it was in a defrost and it was stuck there, so that's why it wasn't working, and then somebody must have moved it. And I don't know, maybe sometimes it wants to run, and then when it gets right up against where it's about to click, it gets stuck. Sometimes they do that. But that's something you want to watch out for. Now sometimes the way these work is they'll cut power off to the temperature controller completely. But with this one, it doesn't do that. So there, it's killed power to the solenoid. And it's going to pump down and shut off. So it's pumped down and shut off, and we still have power here, as you can see. Now it's released the solenoid. It's back on. So let's see, let's set this for the current time. There it is. It's just about ready to want. You gotta be careful. You can go too far sometimes. Alright, let's set it for 5 for now. For 5. Let's see if it moves off that 5 with our clock. So this clock's gonna be 15 minutes ahead. So this is gonna be 15 minutes behind. Let's see what it does in 15 minutes. Meanwhile, we're watching this, and this is gonna satisfy here in a minute because it's set for 33. So as you can see, this table's working perfectly. Alright, so I'm about 3 or 4 minutes into it now, and you see it's moving. It's moved with my time. So, it's moving now. I'm pretty sure it wasn't moving a little bit ago. But it's moving. So I'm curious to see if it looks like defrost starts at 5:15. If you look at that tab that's flipped up on the 5 right there, it starts at 5:15 and ends at 5:30. So I'm curious to see if it's going to run normally until it reaches the 15 mark and then gets stuck again, like I found it when I got here. But that's kind of what it looks like it's pointing to, so that's what I'm going to go with. But I'm going to confirm it. So I'm going to give it a few minutes and come back. I'm going to walk away from it because this is boring. Now some of these machines are different. Sometimes the clock is wired into receive power from the power switch. So it's important to know, sometimes, maybe not in this case, but sometimes it's important to know is if when we flip this power switch off, does it kill power to the timer motor of this timer and stop the clock? If so, in this case, they've got a defrost every hour, it looks like. So for every hour, we've got one tab flipped up, or we should. I don't know what they got going on here or over here. But say for instance, if they want to use this to shut it off between midnight and 7 a.m., every time you shut the power off, well, the clock's going to change, and then you're going to get service calls for it not working in the middle of the day. I've had that many times before at other restaurants like Chili's, Luby's, Taco Bell's. It's very common for that to happen. So if it's wired like that, you never know if it comes from the factory that way, or if some sparky individual decided to wire it up like that afterwards. But in those situations, you want to wire power, constant power hot to the motor of this. Now it's right at 15-minute mark. Let's see if it stalls out. If it doesn't stall out, I'm probably going to set the timer for the correct time, or leave it where it's at, knowing that it's 15 minutes behind. And then I'm going to leave the job open. I'm going to come back later to see if it's lost the 15-minute space between the time it's showing here and the correct time on the clock. You know, I might not even do that. I don't know, because based on the nature of the service call and service request saying that the top section was warm, based on the fact that I saw that this thing was stuck at 15 minutes, the fact that that clock controls just the top, I think all of that is pretty well indication to me that we got a problem with the clock. But it might stall out on me here in a minute. Who knows? Okay, I am sure of it.
This man suffers from a bad heart. Would have plenty of medicine, Dr. Cox.
This thing is done. We're 5 minutes ahead, and it's stalled out at the 15-minute mark right before it clicks in the defrost. So I guess it needs... The motor, apparently, inside the little clock is weak. So when it gets to that point to where it's got to, you know, click and break the contact or close contact, whatever, it's got to make that switch. It can't do it. The motor stalls, and so it's therefore bad. So that thing is bad. Now this part is a FM1 STUZ 120U, and unfortunately they're no longer available at United. Either that or they are not in stock. So that's fantastic. So I'm going to try to make this thing work for them until I can come back with a new one. I don't know if I'm going to have to order one and have United bring it in from Fort Worth, or maybe they'll have one in stock, but I'm not going to open a supply house for the $175 fee right now to find out they don't have it. So I'm going to give them a defrost every 6 hours and let the manager know I've got to do a defrost a little bit so it doesn't freeze up. But I can't just take all the defrosts out. But this should get them by, and I'll let them know that if it gets stuck, to just turn it a little bit. So now look, now it's interesting. So see, since I messed with it some by closing all those or shutting all those off, it started keeping time again. But I bet it's going to get stuck at the... Well, it's not going to get stuck again because it's going now until 12. So we don't have to worry about that at all until 12. Maybe I'll even be able to get back here before then with a new one. Well, that'd be nice. So thanks for watching the video, everybody. That's it for this one. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you like the video, if it helps you in any way, I appreciate it. I'll see you later.